Hoodie guy coming back here with another Kaspa video. Well, we're about 8.3 cents. I mean, we did get back over 10. It's a patience waiting game. I mean, really, a couple months will be about the same spot we were a couple years ago. But I do think altcoin season will get going. Obviously, Bitcoin was falling down close to 60% market dominance. It's rebounded a little bit when you just go back to the 5 year. You can see that, that's happened before. So we really need to get down to 55 to 58%, I think, probably market dominance before it's like really confirmed. You got the coin glass with all the different market metric tops. It's saying the pi cycle top indicator is 63%. That's just one metric out of a bunch of them. None of us know exactly when the top's going to be. If you're buying and holding, that's not really relevant. If you're trying to take some profit with your altcoins, then it is relevant. Verum's got a test net on a social media platform. I just saw Chris Hutchinson talk about it, so I went there, and you can see that it costs 0.179 Kaspa to comment, zero point 0.1 Kas to like. I guess something like this would be good for cutting down a lot of the spam because even if it's not very much money, it's gonna, right now, I guess, 10% of a Kaspa is less than a penny. But, those spammers like in the YouTube comments that are leaving tons of comments like that, you can't go and spend a million, thousands of dollars a day just to leave a bunch of spam comments. So I think something like this is needed. And it's kind of like the Soft Wars book by Jason Lowery, where you can use these networks to project power into cyberspace. Kaspa, the address is staying about the same, not growing a ton there. A couple days ago, wallet number 2 loaded up there, 840 million. We don't know who Wallet 2 is. That could be a big catalyst for something in this bull market. A couple days ago, there was 1 million regular transactions on the network. It's not the 15 million there was during the KDAL mint when that was before the Crescendo hard fork, but that's cool to see. I don't know if it's connected to people that are doing some testing on mainnet for smart contracts. You can still see it was pretty 400,000. So there's been a big jump in daily transactions. You can see the fees, went up a lot compared to what it has been. 4,000, 5,000 Kaspa, 3,000 Kaspa, 22,000 Kaspa. Still not enough to completely replace the rewards. Once those die down the next 4 to 7 years, it's going to be a pretty big reduction. You can see on this proof of work rankings, it's got Kaspa number 4. Litecoins edged out Kaspa. Bitcoin Cash and Ethereum Classic are not that far behind. You got another thing that's interesting is you can see the S&P 500 the last 100 years. I don't think this is an inflation adjusted, but you can see that there's been, after the 1929 and then there's, the war, there is times it pulls back, but it's basically up and to the right. But when you price it in gold, this is the S&P 500 basically in that same time frame priced in gold. And obviously, between the 30s and 70s, they controlled the price of gold. And then you can see once they took off the gold standard and the gold was basically allowed to have a different price, then the S&P 500 in terms of gold went down, ran up to 2000, went down, and then in 2011, I think maybe is when they had the ETF. But you can see that in terms of gold, the S&P 500 is not at all-time highs. In dollar terms, obviously, we know they're inflating it down. Home costs, you can see that home costs in dollars just keep rising, but home prices in gold are down. So it's just interesting to see. That's why I think, in the end, you want Kaspa to be making gains on the CAS BTC chart because in the one last month it's up 2%. But if it doesn't make new all-time, it depends. If you buy right here and it just goes up a little bit and doesn't make new all-time highs, in the short term, you could outperform Bitcoin. But you're looking your long-term hold to outperform Bitcoin on this chart. And you can see Uh, lately, I mean, it's just been a downtrend, but I guess lately, the last month, it's starting to make that uptrend. And then, the dollar was falling down a little bit, and 98.64. Yeah, you look the last 5 years, it did basically the bottom of the bear market. It was up to 113. It re-strengthened after Trump won. It's been going in decline, got down to 96, starting to re-strengthen a little bit, but you can see that got down to 90 in the last bull market. So we're not too far from that. um, Keeping an eye on the price cycle top indicator. Really comes down to, these dips hurt, but they're good buying opportunities if you don't think the top's in. If you think the top's in, then it's like, oh, then that's a different story. If you don't think the top's in, then your portfolio is just being volatile, and that's the price of the game. Good buying opportunity if you got dry powder on the sidelines. And yeah, that's basically about it. Um, there's some cool stuff going on with people building stuff. You're gonna have the Casplex mainnet, I believe, at the end of the month. You have things like this, Verum, Cassia messaging, people trying to build some cool stuff. You have transactions going up, and you see a lot more people debating Bitcoin and Caspa on there. A lot of name calling, a lot of, I don't know, it's pretty immature, some of the stuff going on there between the people debating it, but it seems like it's getting more eyeballs on the issue, or it feels like some people in Bitcoin community need the urge to kind of speak up about Caspa, why they think Bitcoin's better, or name calling, or whatever, or just calling it a shit coin. So that's all I got. Well, buckle up. I think we're still going to have a decent altcoin season. So how great that's going to be, no one truly knows. Whether it's going to be a good altcoin season or it's going to be something that just melts everyone's faces. Either way, I plan on taking profit. Maybe I'm probably not going to play it right, but that's just my goal. We all got different goals, but maybe your dollar cost averaging in now that the prices have dipped down further. I do think we're going to get another turnaround, and Bitcoin will go back to all-time highs. When, I don't know exactly. Depends, if they're going to now, it's if they're going to cut the rates in September. There's some volatility there, but yeah, it's just got to be careful because the altcoin season is not going to last forever if you plan on taking profit. So get your game plan together in these times that are kind of, now people are dejected because the prices are down. Get your game plan together so when times get euphoric, and they're not going to be euphoric forever, then you can be level headed. So thanks for watching and have a good day.